I was going to open this video with us mourning the death of Mant, kinda like this. However, that already happened on July 1st, when Cygames blessed us global players with updated versions of Ura Finale and Unity Cup ahead of schedule. And I am so happy that they did that because Unity Cup was so much more fun than Mant, and it consistently gave racers that were on par with Mant standards, if not better. But we're not talking about Unity Cup today. We're talking about the actual new scenario, Brighter Together, Our Grand Concert. You might know it by its Japanese name, Watashitachi no Grand Live. I can agree, Grand Live makes for a convenient shorthand, but somehow, don't ask me why, but I've developed this mental image of WD Gaster gesturing towards a brightly lit stage while proclaiming, Our Grand Concert. When choosing who to train when I stream my first Our Grand Concert playthrough, I thought it would make sense if I were to pick a character that was scenario linked, meaning they were actually involved in the story. So let's look at our options. Smart Falcon, don't have. Silent Tezuka, don't have. Agnes Tachyon, turned into a playing card. Mihono Bourbon, don't have. Screw it, TM Opera O. TM Opera O, or as I like to call her, Tim, is known in the Uma Musume community for being an autistic, bisexual, gifted, narcissistic theater girl with a certain flair for the dramatic. Is an accurate statement that can be used to describe her, but I think it undersells exactly how herself she is. Crowning herself the Centurial Overlord, she believes that she is the second coming of Jesus Christ and that deriving the world of her beauty would be an unforgivable sin. And at the same time, she believes that her beauty is so great that even the very forces of nature are intimidated by her presence. As delusional as she may be, she does have the talent to back it up. And I'm not just saying that because I'm her trainer. The real-life horse that she's based on was one of the highest-earning racehorses in the world, and maintained a notorious winning streak for a full year, often clashing with Meisho Dodo, who was a powerhouse in his own right, but that's a topic for another video. Oh, and I should mention, I'm using the New Year's version of Tim, which... Need I say more? The scenario starts with renowned model Smart Falcon practicing her winning concert choreography with her fellow students, because I kinda forgot that they are supposed to be both racehorses and idol girls that sing and dance. In my defense, the whole idol thing hasn't really been relevant up until now. Unfortunately, the other students aren't taking the rehearsal very seriously, because they believe that if they keep studying the choreography for the backup dancers, then they're resigning to the idea that, as faceless unnamed NPC students, they will never win. Smart Falcon is disappointed with this pessimistic, but also true, point of view. And so, when a strange woman approaches us wanting to propose a new event, a performance where every Uma Musume is given the chance to shine, she is enthusiastically on board. One in-game month later, yes, actually, we meet with this woman again, and she tells us more about Our Grand Concert. Apparently, it used to be a big year-end event held by Trason students that nowadays are probably living in retirement homes. However, over time, it grew too big for the students to manage. The Ura took over and was phased out in favor of the winning concerts that we're more familiar with. But if we can gather enough support, we can revive and then everybody will get to see their favorite racer shine on stage, no matter who they are. Joining us in setting up is Agnes Tachyon, who wants to study the effect that concerts have on both fans and performers, Mihono Bourbon, who wants to figure out exactly what concerts mean to her, and Silent Tezuka, who is honestly just here because Tachyon dragged her into it. Oh, and I guess I should introduce this woman. Say hello to your new workaholic producer, Light Hello. Hello, hello! She'll be handling the venue and all the other boring stuff, so all we have to do is make sure that our performers, including Tim, are concert ready. Although, for a producer, she seems a little too unbothered by her work. I mean, sure, she's dressed the part, but she doesn't look anywhere near exhausted enough, nor is she holding a cup of coffee every time she's on screen. Maybe it's just a side effect of the idol industry being heavily romanticized, but something's off about her. I just can't quite place it. If you have Light Hello in your support deck, which I hope you do because otherwise you are screwed, she might run up to you one day and ask if you like idols. Obviously, she's talking about idol girls, but someone in my chat joked that she was about to show us an effigy of some forbidden god, and then from there we started joking about how Light Hello is secretly a cultist and is actually a ritual that will summon the horrors. However, as I interacted with her some more, I realized she's not secretly evil or anything. She's a newbie that doesn't fully understand what she's getting into. I couldn't tell you what it takes to make a concert a success, or even a successful concert looks like, really. Oh my god. She doesn't act like a producer because she's never actually produced before. She has no idea what she's actually getting into. She's running a Kickstarter that's massively underestimated how much money she's gonna need to fund the project. That would explain why she still has the optimistic light in her eyes. But given a few years, I'm sure that'll change. Now, I'd love to tell you more about the story of Tim and eventually leading into a sketch that ends with me and Tim beating the crap out of faceless student C because she is a CUPC AKE. But I want to keep this video short. Before we move on to our next topic, however, I want to share with you this one event from the new Tachyon support card that I really liked because it made me sad. Tachyon asked me to drink a special sleep potion that would let me see my dreams. Of course, since the game isn't allowed to know anything about me personally, the only thing I dream about is watching Tim run really fast, which I would not say it's inaccurate. That is something I want to see right now. When I asked Tachyon what happened when she drank the potion, she claimed that the only thing she dreamed about was being able to run through an open field at high speed, which she found disappointing. Which tells me that this is a version of Agnes Tachyon that has given up on her dream, believing that she'll be content with supporting someone else's.
So why didn't you? Oh, because it was a stupid dream.
Now, how does one go about training while preparing for our grand concert? Every time you train, you earn one of 5 different performance points. Dance, passion, vocal, vibes, and cope. Actually, those last 2 points are called something different, but I forgot what. Between turns, you can spend the points you've accumulated in this shop menu to learn songs and techniques that will buff your trainees. I had to re-record this line because it did not sound like I was saying the word buff. Initially, I believed that each type of point was tied to one type of training. So if you wanted more dance points, you had to do speed training, for example. However, I quickly discovered that this belief isn't quite correct. The type of points you receive from each training session is entirely random, but you do spend dance points to buy techniques that improve your speed, so I'm not completely off the mark here. Also, if you raise your friendship levels high enough to trigger friendship training, you can double dip and get 2 different types of points from a single training session, meaning you can buy more buffs. In other words, you'll want to get support rainbows as soon as possible, because rainbows means big numbers and lots of money which can be spent to make bigger numbers. Any turn that you don't have a goal race is a turn that should be spent training. What? Did you want to rest? You can't do that! Unless you're going out on a date with Hello, then that's completely excusable. Every turn spent not training is a turn that you are not earning performance points, so you can't buy more buffs to get bigger numbers. Don't you want bigger numbers? Don't lie, you know the answer as well as I do. Tim suffered a debilitating injury during training and became practice poor. We could have spent a turn in the infirmary to rest and hopefully heal, but that would require spending a turn at not making numbers go up, which I believe I've made myself clear on this subject. So instead, we just tanked that injury for the entire rest of the run, and we only failed training one other time. Once you've collected a decent amount of performance points, what should you spend them on? Techniques grant minuscule buffs and skill hints that generally aren't worth fretting over. I try to buy techniques that are relevant to the current situation, but if push comes to shove, just buy whatever gets you to the next page. Songs are the things that actually matter. Each song provides 2 different buffs. One that will be granted immediately, and one that will be granted after the next concert. There are people on the internet that have done extensive research into this topic and can tell you which songs you should pick up and that you should glue your run if you can't get these particular songs. But a lot of that talk goes over my head. After many repeat playthroughs, however, I figured out the one idiot-proof stat that you need. Buy songs that increase friendship training effectiveness. Ignore everything else. Friendship training effectiveness increases the strength of rainbows. Bigger rainbows equals bigger numbers. Specialty priority makes it more likely for your supports to be in the correct training facilities to spawn rainbows to get more big numbers, but what's the point if you can't also get bigger numbers? Don't you want bigger numbers? And if you really feel the need to increase support card event frequency, then consider the possibility that your run sucks and you should just restart. As for the concerts themselves, they take place every 6 months after the debut race. If you've got at least 3 new songs, then the concert will be a great success. If you didn't, then the concert will still be a success, just not a great one. Though ideally you want to buy as many songs as you can, because more new songs means more bonuses after the next concert, which usually means more and bigger rainbows, which means more and bigger numbers. I trust you see the pattern here. Speaking of supports, I can't believe we went this far into the video without mentioning it, but here's the deck I was using. Because you want to be training as much as possible, you want to pack in a couple of wit cards in order to increase the amount of energy you regain whenever you chase after rainbows in shogi. And then you want to take a bunch of speed cards because you'll want to aim for that absurdly high speed cap, and if you focus on any of the other stats, your training facilities won't level up as quickly. Add in Light Hello, and then that doesn't really leave room for much else in terms of deck variety. Though I've heard some people say you can swap out a wit for a stamina card like Super Creek or Steampunk Hayahide if you are training for long distance. I would like to point out that everything I just told you about support cards is based on what the internet told me, and was written and recorded before the Virgo Cup, which I somehow won, by the way. I finished my lunch, by the way. But leading up to the final round, I lost to this Ogiri Cap, this Agnes Digital, and this Major McQueen on freaking dirt! All of which were running only 2 speed cards instead of 3, and I don't know what to believe anymore. Oh wait, they all have Kido-san Black. Never mind. And I don't know how to transition to the next segment. Thanks to Tim's diligent training and the motivation she's gotten from all of her concert performances, her stats, especially her speed, has been growing off the charts.
Fortunately, I have a bigger chart.
As a result, Tim has been dominating every single race she's entered. Like, it's not even close. So we really don't need to worry about meeting any of our career goals. In the month leading up to the final concert, the performers managed to come up with a very special song to perform. But they've entrusted me and Light Hello to come up with a name for the song, without telling us anything about it. That seems like a very dangerous idea, because I'm sure one of you freaks, if given the opportunity, would name it something stupid like the Doo-Doo Song. Thankfully, the game doesn't give us that opportunity, and we settle with the name Girls Legend View. Those keen-minded of you may recall that this is the name of the game's title theme. That's right, we have officially gone full circle, and it only took us 1.5 real-life years. Less than that on global. 'Twas the night before the Arima Kinen, our final race before our grand concert. Tim dragged me out for a Christmas gathering, which ended with her, for lack of better explanation, proposing to me. You must become the ruler of humanity. What? If a ruler of humanity with your skill were to unite with the centurial overlord of Musume, the world would finally know peace, would it not? You know every bit of my person, my brilliance. If you were to become humanity's representative, there wouldn't even be need for discussion. Is she trying to pull a marriage proposal? After all, even the Overlord needs a partner. She is trying to pull a marriage proposal. This is the physical embodiment of my promise. Would you accept this ring? Oh my god. Now laugh with me. I don't want this. Sorry, Tim, but I've already sworn to help Haihide complete her equation. One victory at the Arima Kinen later, and then finally, we can sit back and watch our grand concert. By the way, if you're on desktop, remember to change the concert settings so that you can watch them in glorious 60 frames per second. I did not do this on stream because I forgot. There's actually 2 different versions of this concert, by the way. The version you're looking at right now is the Weenie Hut Jr. version. If you see this at the end of your run, it means you screwed up. If you can learn at least 18 different songs before late December of senior year, then you will receive the full, extended version in all of its glory. After the concert, all that's left is the extended phase. I'm actually curious, I haven't heard anyone talk about the extended phase in I like the Twinkle Star climax in Mance. I wonder what this one will be. Oh, it's just the Ura finale again. Alright, never mind. Skip. And that is how the Centurial Overlord, TM Opera O, helped revitalize our grand and asserted her dominance over the racing world. Now for my closing thoughts. If you haven't caught on, this scenario is extremely RNG dependent, which honestly doesn't surprise me anymore. I've come to accept that this randomness is going to be a consistent factor in a game based on a sport that is often tied to gambling. When I first streamed, despite a couple screw-ups, I was really lucky and got a final rating of UG 6. Since then, I haven't been able to match that, much less beat it. At the time I'm writing this sentence in my script, the closest I've gotten was UG 5 with Maya no Top Gun while I was training for the Virgo Cup. I know, weird choice, but I didn't have many other options. Mind you, this was after 5 attempts, one of which I abandoned because she didn't roll any dirt sparks from inspiration. If you want a decent racer to bring into the next Champions Meet, then you'd better hope that the songs you want turn up in the shop. And then you need to pray that you can get the points you need to purchase the songs that you want before the next concert. And you want to get as many songs as you can early on so that you can get the most out of your concert bonuses. Oh no! You couldn't get a 10% friendship bonus ready before the first concert? Too bad. Start over. This level of randomness is enough to make somebody want to pull their hair clean off of their scalp. Building aces during this time is going to be a nightmare. Hypothetically, you could stick to Unity Cup, which I think is more consistent and fun, but then you'd be passing up on the massive speed cap you could be going for. That being said, it is shorter than Mant, so I would pick over it any day. Outside of the very specific instance of, I don't really have time to play today, I'm going to send Ogiri Cap to go farm fans, and then I'm going to go about my business. But that would require Cygames to implement some sort of auto-training feature. As if they'll add anything like that anytime soon. Sorry, 1 second. Moshi moshi, kratming desu. Wait, what? What? No, you're joking! As someone who uses a community-driven third-party application to automate a browser-based RPG from 2003 and has no shame in admitting it, don't worry, I expect a maximum of 3 people who watch this video are going to understand what I'm talking about. Independent training is the best new feature to be implemented, and I am so happy that Cygames gave it to us the night before was made available. This makes spark farming and completing your dailies much less of a chore. Of course, the resulting racer won't be as good as someone that you trained yourself, but that's the point. It just makes it so that when you do actually want to play, it's much more enjoyable. Hi, forget everything that my past self just said. During the Virgo Cup, more than once, I got matched up against teams that consisted almost entirely of independent learners, which is something that I would chastise people for if I wasn't about to be part of the problem in the Libra Cup. I know, I'm sorry, this was meant to be a placeholder for an actual runner that I trained myself, but then the game just randomly spat out an UG 3 and I didn't have the time or patience to try for anything better. Funnily enough, when independent training was first implemented, there was a bug involving Yano Mutaki and Gold City that threw off the game's calculations, resulting in a runner that was absolutely jacked up. Apparently this was a bug in the Japanese version as well, but because they had such a huge roster and a relatively smaller audience, it went completely unnoticed for months, until we found it on global. Jokes aside, it's clear that Cygames has recently been putting in a lot of effort in giving us global players more attention, and I'm very happy about it. Heck, they recently published a new music video on both their Japanese and English YouTube channels, which features several characters that aren't even in global yet, and won't even be mentioned for at least another year from now. That is awesome! Also, I didn't know where else to mention this, but for the sake of science, I did another playthrough, except I completely ignored concert prep, and every single concert still ended in success, because they always had at least one song that was automatically given to you at the start. I know some of you are probably disheartened to learn that your actions, or lack of actions, have no meaningful impact on the story. Though to be fair, if you're going to ignore all the unique mechanics of then you're just playing Earth Finale without Happy Meek. What's the point of that? Anyways, that's everything I have to say about Brighter Together, our grand concert. I think. Speaking of JP, I wonder what's happening on their server right now. What do you mean you're already on the next scenario? Didn't you just get one about the Breeders' Cup? Damn it, I could actually go for some ramen right now. I would like to give a special thanks to Ansale Joshua, Frank the Tank 102, and Vivalry for joining my YouTube membership. You too can join the Crat Pack for only $1 a month and support the development of videos like this, as well as videos like that other one you probably saw about the loop-de-loop in the training course. Also, I almost completely forgot, but I want to give a special thanks to my over 2,000 subscribers. That's right, over 2,000 people have decided that they like the sound of my voice enough that they are willing to listen to more of it. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. And I also want to thank you, yes, you, for watching this video all the way to the end. Also, FYI, I'm probably not going to do a video on Grandmasters, not because I hate it, I just want to take a break. Okay, bye.